Today is Sunday, December 1, 2013. Diana Hanbury King is visiting with Pete and Pam Wright in Deltaville, Virginia. She's been with us now for a couple of days, and for dinner tonight had a dozen oysters. We call them oysters down here. Other people call them oysters. And Diana, you had a theory. Pam, this is a fascinating theory. Diana has a theory about people like Richard Branson and other individuals. Diana, tell me now, this whole thing about the gift of dyslexia, you have some unusual theories about it that are different from the mainstream.
I do not believe it is unusual, although it has bothered me that it is so prevalent.
That dyslexia is prevalent?
All you hear about is that people who are inventors and CEOs and leaders, the big advantage is, quote, they're so good and they're successful because they think outside the box. Well, that is only half the story. As a matter of fact, if you really want to know, it's less than half the story. The reason why they are successful is because they are innately charming. Why should dyslexic people be innately charming? Well, let me tell you. They are keenly observant of human behavior. We have a number of teachers have examples of this. I have a couple I can produce. I used to get serious, devastating migraine headaches. Long before any of my colleagues would notice, some of my dyslexic students, quite young ones, would say, "Are you getting a headache?" Then when I was teaching, I taught algebra for quite a while, and a student would give a wrong answer, and I would, I swear, be completely impassive. I wouldn't move a muscle, I'd just be waiting. And the kid would look at my face, would read something, and would say, "Oh no, that's not what I meant to say," and change in midstream. This didn't happen to me, but it happened to another teacher who used to tell the story. And this was, I think, about fourth graders. The lady had a cat to which she was devoted. And the cat was sick. The cat was ill. And she shared it with her class. "I'm so worried, I'm so upset because the cat is ill." Then she walked into the class one day, and one of the young kids took a look at her and said, "I guess your cat died." Something had changed in her expression, from worry to resignation to who knows what, but she noticed. Now, we all know this, and heaven knows all the manufacturers of children's toys know it. What do babies look at first? What do babies look at? Babies look at faces. They are more attracted to human faces than to anything else. And they notice, early on, they notice what pleases a person, what doesn't please a person, and they behave in such a way as to please people. It's innate personal charm, and dyslexic students have this when they are very young. Unfortunately, some people say, "Oh, he's such a little con artist." Don't ever say that. It's nothing of the kind. It's innate charm, it's instinctive, it's innate, it comes from the beginning, and it is probably the chief advantage of dyslexia. It's ahead of everything else. People get chosen they get hired, they get elected because people like them. Why do people like them? Because they are charming. Look at all our presidents. The Kennedy family, loaded with dyslexia. Both members of the Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy, who had, I think it was 12 children, and one by one as they came through the Potomac School, they had to have extra help in reading and writing and spelling. And, all right, to get rid of the Kennedys, Lyndon Johnson had a dyslexic daughter, and we know dyslexia is hereditary. Woodrow Wilson is said to have been dyslexic, although I don't know quite about that one. And another thing that goes with dyslexia is left-handedness. And I don't know if anybody noticed the last 3 presidential candidates, they were all left-handed. Of course, including Obama. I'm not saying he's dyslexic, but he certainly writes with a rather awkward, I may say, left-handed grip. So left-handedness, dyslexia, the personal charm. And not enough. Oh, you've got Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill is certainly known to have been dyslexic. Nelson Rockefeller. I taught a Rockefeller grandson at one point, and his mother said to me very definitely, "Daddy never did learn to read." So, and you can go on and find that in all of these leaders. And it's not just the ingenuity and the cleverness, it's the innate personal charm based on their clean powers of observation. They notice stuff. That's what makes them successful.
So it's personal charm. It's not the issue of being able to think outside the box.
It's equally important.
Equally
The
important.
quick think inside the box is one thing, but the personal charm is what gets them into a leadership position in the first place. So then they can use their thinking outside the box to invent stuff. But if they weren't in a leadership position in the first place, nobody would listen to them.
And I thank you.
Okay. See if that's useful.
Pam, you got anything you want to ask Diana?
I love it. I loved it. I was
It's
thinking
true. It's absolutely
also
true.
of, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Look at this guy.
Say again?
Look at you.
Well, that's time to wrap it up.